Ich würde sagen, wir schauen ein Video an, wo ich mich sehr darauf freue, wenn ich den Titel schon lese. Hexe fängt eine neue Serie an, und zwar Mandalorian, HACKSMITH, Chapter 1, der Flammenwerfer. Ihr wisst, ich liebe Star Wars. Ihr wisst, ich feiere Mandalorian. Also feiere ich es noch bei uns, und wer das HACKSMITH Mandalorian Stuff baut. Wie geil. Einfach auch noch ein Mandalorian-Intro nachgebaut. Geil. Okay, come on, Leute.
You guys have been asking for it. And believe it or not,
ich bin hyped, ohne Scheiß.
We've been listening.
Ah! Yo!
This is the way.
Geil!
I, with the help of my team, are going to create our very own Mandalorian suit. We're not just stopping with the suit itself, but over the next few months, we'll unveil individual chapters outlining the process of making the flamethrower, the blaster, the grapple gun, the jetpack, and the armor.
Boah, Alter, auf das Jetpack bin ich irgendwie am gespanntesten, oder?
Along with the other builds as well. When we're finished, I'm going to don the suit in its entirety for the first time for what promises to be one of our most epic and unbelievable tests of all time.
Ey, der Hype ist real, Leute.
Of course, a project of this scale can't be completed without a great team. So we'll be splitting up the workload. Each person brings a unique skill set. Where one of us is weak, another is strong. Together, there isn't much we can't accomplish. You know Bogdan. He'll be hosting some of the chapters and leading the build for the blaster and the spear. Ian, my best friend and trusted business partner, will be building the grappling gun, since it's dangerous, you know, to protect his investment. Ben's been building and flying drones for over 6 years. That's gonna come in handy. Caleb
Jetpack, ich rieche Jetpack.
is our new co-op. He'll be working behind the scenes on design and maybe chipping in on a build or two. And Daryl. Wait, what are you doing here, Daryl? You're just on the video team.
Das wäre ich so. Was mache ich hier eigentlich?
Get out of here. This promises to be a series you won't want to miss. Now, let's get started on Chapter 1.
Ja, ich hab Bock. Oh, bekomme ich direkt Vibes, Alter. Ich freue mich, wenn die neue Staffel endlich kommt.
Now, Mando's flamethrower is built into his gauntlet. Unfortunately, we have quite a bit of experience building gauntlets. Now, Mando's gauntlet's quite a bit different than this, but we learned a lot about stainless steel fabrication with this project, so I think we won't have any problems. I had one of our co-ops throw together a basic concept in SolidWorks using reference material from the show and images he found online. The trickiest part in building armor like this is actually making it form-fitting to the human body, because as you know, the human body is, well, we're not a Minecraft character.
Wenn wir Minecraft-Charakter wären, wäre es auch einfach sehr viel easier.
Everything needs to be curved and shaped just right. We now have new equipment in the shop that allows us to roll sheet metal into a pipe format. Right here is actually where a little PCB is going to go with a whole bunch of buttons, and that's actually going to control a whole bunch of the features on the suit for future projects as well. Then we've got some detail pieces like this.
Die übertreibt's schon wieder komplett.
And of course, we've actually got our whistling birds holder right here. Then we've got the armor piece for the back of the glove. And finally, have the side bracket, which is where the flamethrower assembly is actually going to sit. Man, I wish building stuff was easy as designing it.
Also ich muss sagen, klar, das Bauen, das ist auch nochmal echt hardcore so, aber für mich wäre auch schon allein das Design sich zu überlegen, ist auch schon wieder eine Challenge für sich.
Love to make the whole suit out of Beskar. But unfortunately, this stuff's pretty hard to find. We had to travel the whole galaxy just to find this little piece, and we definitely don't have enough for the whole suit. So we're gonna have to use the next best thing, stainless steel. Specifically, 304L. It's super strong, durable, and readily available. So, let's start laser cutting.
Let's go. Ich bin so gespannt. Im Allgemeinen, ich muss sagen, der Flamethrower, den finde ich schon cool, aber ich bin more excited, einfach weil es eine Serie ist.
Alright, so we have all the parts laser cut. Before we can start welding this together, we're actually going to have to do quite a bit of sheet metal bending. And to do that, we're going to be using a mini vise brake. So I love these little brakes because they're a very inexpensive way to get into sheet metal fabrication. And as long as you have a nice big beefy vise, like we do, you can
Ich würde gerne mal wissen, wie viel allein das ganze Equipment von denen kostet.
literally install it and start bending your sheet metal.
Ist es so, wie man das macht? Gefühlt irgendwie ziemlich ungenau, oder?
Not bad. No, that was the easy piece. Let's try one of the harder ones. There's one.
Krass, dass das einfach so funktioniert irgendwie. Keine Ahnung, ich dachte irgendwie, das ist schwerer, keine Ahnung.
Next part we need to bend is this part, which actually wraps around my arm. So let's head over there.
Das geht sich so smooth. Ja, okay. Er ist stark. Stimmt, deswegen sieht es wahrscheinlich so einfach aus.
That's probably the hardest part of this whole build. So we've got all the pieces folded and rolled, and that means we just have to weld it together.
Die sehen wirklich so aus, als hätten wir die Kameran professionell hergestellt. Wahrscheinlich, weil die auch professionell hergestellt haben.
Let's get started. I've got quite a bit of welding left on the gauntlet, so Bogdan is going to start working on that flamethrower mechanism while I finish this up.
I get to do the fun part. The first thing that comes to mind is to use propane. Propane is relatively cheap.
Das erste, was bei mir in den Kopf gekommen ist, ist ein Deo zu benutzen.
Easily accessible, and we've used it before on multiple projects. This should work pretty well. It does work. It gives us about a 2-foot flame, but the flame color is actually blue. That means the flame is actually hotter than an orange flame, but doesn't really match the aesthetic of the Mandalorian. So by taking off this nozzle here, we should be able to get an orange flame. Flame is orange now, but it's not very impressive, and it blows itself out. One thing we can do to get a larger flame is actually flip the tank over to give us liquid propane, and liquid propane means a bigger flame.
What the fuck? Einfach nur, weil wir das Ding dreht, hat man plötzlich so eine Flamme? Da muss ja aufpassen mit dem Zeug.
Not bad, but I think we can do better. Most real flamethrowers use a fuel similar to gasoline. However, gasoline is extremely dangerous, and while we might be able to get a long, big, huge, bright orange flame, we really don't want to mess with this stuff. Cornstarch. Now, cornstarch doesn't normally burn unless you get it well dispersed. Luckily, powder dispersal systems are pretty common in the form of fire extinguishers. So theoretically, if we just empty this and fill it with cornstarch, we should have a working flamethrower.
Alter, einfach ein Feuerlöscher in einen Flammenwerfer umbauen.
3, 2, 1.
Digga, das ist eine Flamme. Die würde ich aber nicht gerne hier aus meiner Hand kommen haben.
So cornstarch worked really well, but it is a bit difficult to ignite. Propane is easy to ignite, but it doesn't give us a huge flame. I want to try what happens when you put both of these together.
Also die Musik, was ist denn da los?
Fill this with cornstarch, hook it up to propane to pressurize it, and then we've got a nozzle on the end that can be mounted onto the gauntlet far away from the tank.
Digga, die Musik.
Let's give it a shot. Alright, Dave.
Hohoho, das nennt man mal eine Flamme. Yo.
Well, I think that this is our winner. We get a huge orange flame, it's relatively safe, and it's quite compact.
Sicher.
Now we just need a PCB to control it.
To design the PCB, I'm using Altium Designer. You can take a closer look at these using Altium Viewer. This PCB that I'm designing will allow us to control the flamethrower directly from the gauntlet.
Ich finde es so krass, dass man so Chips selber designen kann. Ich sag's in jedem HACKSMITH-Video, aber ich finde es so crazy immer. Jedes Mal. Das ist eine Sache, die mich irgendwann will ich die auch mal können.
I'm going to future-proof it. There are a bunch of unused buttons that will give us the option of adding more gadgets in future chapters. So, stay tuned for that. I can use Altium to export a 3D model. That way we can see if the PCB integrates well with our gauntlet design. I think it'll fit nicely right over here. If you want to see our entire electronic schematic, check out our page at maker.io. PCBs are still something we outsource, and there isn't a better, faster, more affordable place to go than JLC PCB. They offer great boards at a quick turnaround.
All right, I think that's it for the welding. So now we just have to sandblast this, polish it up, and then we'll be ready to assemble it.
Das ist so krass, was die alles machen immer. Ich habe da so mad Respekt vor. Boah, sieht so nice aus. Schon satisfying, oder Leute?
before we assemble the little pieces, let's start on the costume. Now, Mando's gloves are kind of interesting. They have yellow-brown fingertips and then black on the palm and the back of the hand.
Das ist mir noch nie aufgefallen, tatsächlich.
I bought a whole bunch of different gloves over here, and
Wir müssen das in richtiger Fashion hier schauen. Moment. So, jetzt sind wir richtig gewappnet fürs Video. Für die letzten... Ja?
we're gonna use cowhide glove with a fingerless glove on top. Now, the only issue is, this is a brand new glove. Mando's gloves are worn. With leather like this, if you...
Bruder, was willst du nochmal sagen? Ach ja, krass, das sehe ich auch so.
...into a nicer light brown. After it dries out a bit more, it's gonna look a bit more like this glove, which I think is perfect. It looks like a nice
Sehe ich auch so.
worn glove that isn't actually worn out yet. Let's add the armor to the fingerless glove now. Starting to feel like Mando. Bogdan's prepared all the flamethrower components, and Caleb just got our final PCB to control the whole thing. Step one, we add the hose. And now the lighter and our flamethrower nozzle are securely fixed in the bracer. Woo, we got fire. We might want to add a small deflector plate there at some point. All right, now it's time to add the PCB. I actually made a little laser cut metal plate, 3D printed button covers, so you can easily press the buttons with a glove. I think that's everything, which means it's time for a quick test.
So, bist du ready? Ja? Gut. Oha! Yo! Digga, was ist das denn? Junge! Was sagst du dazu? Ist es so wie von Mando? Ich glaube, er ist noch nicht so überzeugt. Da müssen wir uns die anderen Folgen noch reinziehen, glaube ich.
All right, this flamethrower
Das war schon echt epic.
is a really good start, but we certainly have a long way to go. I'm gonna move on to making the helmet. But first, in Chapter 2, Bogdan and Caleb will be building a blaster and spear.
Saustarkes Ding. So ein starkes Video, Alter. Mega strong. Bitte abonniert meine Channels. Danke. Stay curious. Lol.